Hi, everyone. So it's currently Wednesday, December 30th. Both of these were recorded last night, but the length of the episode was almost 2.5 hours. So I took it upon the liberty of myself, and you'll hear me mention this later, that I decided to split this one big episode into two parts. So you just heard episode 51 with Phil, Markeem, and I, and Big Rat partially because he didn't join until after the Miami OSU Cheez-It Bowl was over. But now all four of us are here to talk Week 17 of the NFL season. So, guys, here's episode 52 of YWC Football Talk. As for the name of the episode, if you are already questioning it, it's simple. Phil has a very good sound drop somewhere in the episode, but I'm not going to tell you where. You're just going to have to find it yourself. But anyway, guys, please enjoy episode 52 of YWC Football Talk, and we will see you in 2021. Happy New Year, everyone. Stay safe.
That kind of sucked.
Well, anyway, boys, we ready to move on to the last week of the NFL season?
Sure.
All right, cool. The first game on the list, I was actually going to wait until I was going to skip before because I thought we were starting NFL earlier, but since Big Rat's here, we've got Miami coming off a win that, let's be frank, fuck, man. That was some of the most electric 4 minutes of football I saw Saturday night, including some dumb moves by John Gruden. But we got you guys going out to Buffalo to take on the Bills in Week 17. I'm going to go to you first. How are we feeling going into Week 17?
Feeling pretty good. Because Sean McDermott today said that someone asked him, does Pittsburgh not playing their starters impact your decision? And he said yes and no. So it seems like they're either not going to play their starters or they're only going to play them for a few quarters. So that has me pretty encouraged in their ability to make the play.
Absolutely stupid, but don't get
They can't get the 4 seed after they won last night. They could only get the 2 or the 3 seed. So if the 3 seed competition, Pittsburgh, is resting their starters and not playing Big Ben and might lose the game, then they're locked into 2 no matter what. So yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons why they will not play their starters a full game, and for that reason I feel confident as a Miami fan. The quarterback situation is weird. It is unconventional. There's nothing really like it in the NFL because they're pretty adamant. Like, it's not even like there's a decision to be made. Flores is adamant about this. No. Tua will stay starting. It's not up for debate. He will stay starting. And every now and then, if the offense is in a funk, they'll put in Fitzmagic. The phrase they use is relief pitcher. Like he's Mariano Rivera.
I saw that in the headline, yeah.
They do. And, like, it's almost like, for someone who's watched Fitz start games this year, there's a lot of games where he starts and he throws a bunch of picks and he's terrible. Against your Patriots, he threw 3 picks the first time they played.
Yeah, he was ass. Yeah, you're
right. And
right.
at the time, we all thought, okay, the Patriots defense last year was awesome. Let's write that off. It is what it is. Now that we see that the Patriots defense wasn't nearly as good, him throwing 3 picks in week 1 is really fucking embarrassing in that game. Same with the Seahawks game where he threw 2 picks in December when they were getting killed. So he doesn't want to start Fitz. But he knows that Tua's a rookie and sometimes struggles, and he's okay putting Fitz in for a spark in the 4th quarter. But it's going to stay that way. It's either Tua starts and finishes the game, or Tua starts the majority of the game and Fitz comes in relief. It's weird, it's unconventional, but they're making it work for now.
Maybe Fitz is really like a relief pitcher in the sense that he needs to see what's going on with the game.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what's happening. Maybe.
And it's not, and honest to God, it's not a horrible strategy. Like, you have a rookie quarterback that doesn't have nearly the experience that he has, and it's like, you're not hurt. Like, I mean, as I'm going to sound like a hypocrite because I said that the whole Taysom Hill, Drew Brees thing was kind of dumb. But obviously it paid out for the Saints because Taysom Hill got starter experience, or got experience on the field. So I'm not totally against it anymore. I think I'm kind of like...
I'm still old school, man. I'm still... You need a guy, man.
I am too, Markeem. But first year, I'm okay with it.
Well, here's where
first year for Tua, I'm okay with it.
Here's where I'll agree with Markeem. I don't think this is sustainable, like, long term.
Right.
Like,
right.
I don't think Fitz can come back next year and you can just keep doing this.
No.
Now, for these, like, next few weeks, I mean, it's certainly different. I will say, like, because a lot of writers are just saying this is stupid, just start Fitz, and Fitz was 3rd in the NFL in interceptions when he got benched for Tua. Like, he got benched for a reason, and Tua has 2 interceptions all year. That's not a small thing when you have a great defense and great special teams. But furthermore, I think with Fitz in particular and Tua, they kind of have like this. Like, Fitz is 38, Tua's a rookie, It'd be very different if they were like of similar ages and similar places in their careers. I think that's why in college this thing doesn't work, because these are 21, 20-year-old guys who are always competing with each other and both want to succeed. These are two guys on very different ends of their career arcs right now. And I agree. I definitely agree. It is probably not sustainable in the long term. But for now, they're making it work. And look, 3 of Fitzpatrick's 4 wins as a starter came against the Jaguars and Jets. 2 worst teams in the league. Fitz is 4 and 3 as a starter for the Miami Dolphins this year. Tua is 6-2. So, you know, I mean, I'm no QB wins guy. It's just I don't think that's accidental. Like, Tua doesn't turn it over. They win more games when Tua starts. I don't think that's a coincidence.
But Big Rag, don't forget, Tua's a system quarterback. Remember?
Shut up, man.
And Josh Allen's record against the Dolphins is...
That's not me. Come on now. You know I don't believe that.
B-Flow has never beat Sean McDermott in his career. He's 0-3. And all 3 times his defense has gotten torched by the Bills. Even last year, when the Bills' offense wasn't that good, they were still torching Brian Flores' defense. So that is a little concerning. It's especially concerning if they were to get in the playoffs and play them. But for now, I think against the backups, they can do a decent job. And with Tua, it's very simple. He doesn't have a great arm. He doesn't have great mobility. The stuff that he does at an elite level, his accuracy and just his ability to go through his progressions very quickly and make a quick decision to read a defense. It's really hard to look great as a rookie doing that stuff, because that stuff is really advanced. Like, that's what Drew Brees does. It's hard, like 6 games into your NFL career, to look impressive, like by going through your progressions and finding the right spot in the defense. Like, that's really hard to do. He can't flash with his arm.
Every time I watch him, I just think, what if he didn't break his hip? Because he was mobile. He used to be able to do that stuff. It's really like, how good would he be if he didn't break his hip? I mean,
maybe it's the kind of thing where as he's more comfortable, you see him extend that range early on. But look, I mean, we'll see. It's still early in his career, and the team is winning because he doesn't turn it over. So let's just see how it goes.
I mean, I will say this: if like, I was gonna touch on this earlier, but I think if the starters play, I like Buffalo in this game. But if they're stupid, like they're probably gonna, like every other team is, and like kill their momentum going into the playoffs, they're probably gonna rest most of their starters for most of that game, if not all of it. And so Miami's probably gonna end up winning.
Well, Phil, I would agree with you if the starters don't play at all. If they play for like maybe a half.
Right, Markeem. I'll backtrack.
That'd be
If
fine.
they start the first half and then they sit the second half, okay. But if they don't start at all, Buffalo is losing one and done. They're not even winning a playoff game.
And it's kind of bad with Pittsburgh.
Because they're super hot right now if you're Buffalo. Like, Buffalo's super hot.
Pittsburgh's offense has been like in a huge funk for a month. They finally have a good game last week, and then Big Ben's just going to go to the bench. Like, not even gonna...
I mean, like, fine. Hey, okay, Pittsburgh, just give Cincinnati, just give KC an even easier walk. And see, that's the thing too. There's only one advantage. Kansas City has it. 2 and 3 seed is that really going to matter? No, it's not. Like, it's not going to matter.
Especially this season when there's no crowds, man.
It's not going to. I mean, they're trying to get crowds, but I don't see. To me personally, like regular season is one thing. I don't think it's fair. If I think everyone should either have fans or no one has fans.
I agree. I totally agree with that.
But apparently that's not what they're doing. So to me, okay, like to me, you're putting an asterisk on the season in that sense. I mean, I know.
I totally agree with that. I think it's fucked up that you can go to some stadiums in the playoffs and there's fans screaming, and in other stadiums they won't be in.
Which is why, and I don't blame Bills Mafia. Bills Mafia is screaming to get fans there because, let me be honest, like that's a huge. Like you're gonna tell me Buffalo has to play at home with no fans after all this wait? They finally win the AFC East. Now, obviously, they're trying to win their first playoff game. And then they have 0 fans when say Miami or whoever gets Kansas City gets a home game and they have fans. I don't blame them. I'd be pissed if I was Bills Mafia.
Man, Phil, I had my guest last week was actually someone from the Beefalo Fanatics Network, which is a huge podcasting network in Western New York, and he was telling me how on a Sunday morning the grocery store can have 3,000 cars in the parking lot and everything like that. But they can't fit 10,000 into the stadium. They are working on a contingency plan. It's not even the local officials that are worrying about this. This is like the state. This is the governor.
The governor of New York is not happening.
It's him. It's literally why. They know it's all politics.
But we talked a little bit out of, like, people aren't taking this serious, and that's why we're still in this. So I'm very torn on what the decision is. I'm just saying it should be one way or the other.
No, I agree with you 100%.
It's not fair for Buffalo not to be allowed to have fans because their governor is doing it one way, and then I'm trying to use an example, but like I guess Kansas City is allowed to have fans. That is utterly ridiculous.
Like Kansas City's had fans all year long.
I mean, and that's not knocking Kansas City. It's not. I'm saying because the rules are what the rules are. The NFL should sit there and say they should announce after week 17 you're not allowed to have fans, or you are. But that's the problem. They can't say that's the problem in the situation. They can't say you're allowed to have fans. They
should step in and be like, none of you can have fans.
You can say none of you are allowed to have fans. That's not fair. Like, and that's how it should be. Because to say that will not affect who wins a game, I'm sorry, I disagree with you. It will.
Do this like the NBA bubble this year.
Right.
Absolutely. I 100% agree.
The NFL doesn't care because they care about money. So, I mean, they're the one league that cares more about money than anything, which NBA gets a bad rap for doing that, but the NBA hasn't done what the NFL's done. So I'll prop them for that. Like, but yeah, I mean, that's the bottom line. Money talks, and that they're going to let fans in where they're allowed to let them in. But I don't think it's right, and I will say that every time when if I feel like it affects the team that wins, I'm going to mention that. So,
Phil, I think that's the most right you ever been about anything, ever. Like the most right. That's not a knock. That's inarguable. That's inarguable.
I mean, yeah, you just literally right. Like there's not even like a leeway. No, it's literally not fair at all.
The one thing I only want to point out quickly, which I do agree with you on the whole, hey, look, either everyone gets to have fans to the limits of what the government health officials will allow, or no one. But to the point earlier of resting players, Phil, it was almost a year ago where you came on here and said Baltimore is going to lose to Tennessee because they rested week 17. And what happened?
What happened? Exactly. I don't know how many times I have to say it on a podcast or anything. When you're hot, now there's different teams that need rest. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, this is team specific. What I'm saying is Buffalo just did something to New England they haven't done since, was it 2000?
2000.
Since
gotta
2000.
ride that emotion.
You're talking 20 years ago, and you're going to go into Miami, which, by the way, if Miami wins, they're in. You could see them again. That's another point, right? You're going to go in and rest all of your starters? I can't believe Buffalo's that stupid. I literally can't believe they're that stupid.
It's probably going to be. It's probably going to be for a half.
Right. Which is fine. I'm not saying that's fine, but I can't believe. Like, to me, that would be Baltimore level stupid, and I would pick anybody against Buffalo in the first playoff game because Baltimore was hot. I don't care. Not wanting to hurt Lamar Jackson, I get that. Well, go in, make sure he's momentum and he's winning, then take him out.
Well, like with a team like Baltimore, it's also different because you're getting 2 weeks off. It's week 17 and the bye.
Right. Right. So it is a little different. I'm glad Markeem. Big Rat. Thank you for bringing that up. It is a little different. But Baltimore literally waited 2 weeks. Like Baltimore's not the first team to do it. They're just the recent team to do it. And it doesn't always work that way. But the team, like some teams start off rusty, whatever. Like it just is. To me, I just don't understand it. You know? Kansas City was they literally. They obviously we all know their story, but they struggled in both their games.
All three, for that matter.
Like all three of their games, they were down. So
Okay, so
they should have lost that Super Bowl, but
Mike Shanahan, I'm looking at you. I don't care. All right, Mike, I choked Shanahan. Sorry.
Just next
Kyle,
up.
Not Mike. Kyle, not Mike.
Yeah, quickly on to Baltimore versus.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Baltimore.
Markeem, you ain't wrong.
I was just gonna say Baltimore, Cincinnati. Like, is there any chance Cincinnati keeps this game relatively close, or do we think Baltimore wins this easily?
No, Baltimore is a must win. I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't think Cincinnati has much of a chance at all.
Must win. Yep.
I guess to close this off, I'll give like a little bit of a middle ground. Like you could see like a competitive first half, and then Baltimore still ends up winning the game by 2+ touchdowns. But Baltimore in the Lamar Jackson era, they're remarkably consistent. When they play a bad team, like they just crush them every single time.
Yep.
It's like it's never close. It's impressive. So
yeah, he's right. He is right about that.
I'll also say this too. If you're an AFC contender, I do not think you want Baltimore walking into your building wild card weekend if they make it.
Well, that's
I think Baltimore's escaping here.
Lamar Jackson with no expectations is scary as fuck.
Yeah, that too.
Exactly. See, as much as I said about the Ravens last year, when you're favorites and you get rest, that's not good when you're hot, right? But if you're Baltimore, now he has all the pressure off Lamar Jackson. And I get it. Like, I saw him in firsthand. He lost to a New England team that's going to most likely finish, is going to finish under 500 probably. So, like, what I say? Wait, I guess they're going to finish 8-8, but whatever.
No, 7-9 is the best they can do.
No, 7-9 is the best they can do. That's right. Thank you, Griff. I was drawing a blank.
No
So,
problem.
they're going to finish under 500 for the first time in the Belichick era. So, like, yeah, like, that's, like, yeah. So, anyways, I lost train of thought. But, yeah, I'm just saying, like, Baltimore, like, I would not want to see them come into my house. And if especially if they continue the momentum like they're going to do.
Something to watch. Big Ben, probably not. I mean, Big Ben's not going to play. They already announced Mason Rudolph. If the Steelers lose, they're the 3 seed. If Miami and Baltimore win, Baltimore's the 6 seed. It's Steelers-Ravens. The Ravens really should have beaten them the first time they played. The Ravens had like 400 yards of offense, but turned it over 4 times in the red zone. And the second time they played was the RG3 Trace McSorley game. Something to watch. And it's a rule I always believe in. It's like, it's borderline impossible to beat a team 3 times in 1 year. It's just really hard.
Which is exactly my point about the Buffalo Miami game.
I just want to point out, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but Lamar Jackson is what you people actually thought Michael Vick was. All right, go ahead.
Go ahead. Back to Griff.
The next game, let's move on to it. Pittsburgh-Cleveland. Myles Garrett revenge game, anyone?
I'll be the first to say it. Do not be surprised if Cleveland loses to Pittsburgh's backups. Because
I'm not surprised at all.
Pittsburgh, here's the thing with Pittsburgh. A few years ago, they pulled all their starters against Cleveland when Cleveland was about to go 0-16. And the backups beat Cleveland anyways. And fine, that was a bad Browns team, whatever. Pittsburgh is also the team, I believe, in the early 2000s when they played the Bills in like 2004. The Bills needed the game to make the playoffs. The Steelers rested all their starters, and they still beat the Bills and knocked the Bills out of the playoff race. I think that even though Big Ben's not going to play and some key guys are not going to play, I don't think Tomlin – John Harbaugh said this last year. You can't just bench all 22 starters in an NFL game. He explained, like, if this is not college, like, you just can't do that. Like, you have to – some guys just kind of have to play so the rotations work, the roster spots work, and all that stuff. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Cleveland, feeling a little pressure, they've never been in this spot, they don't know the situation before, and Pittsburgh's backups maybe punches them in the mouth a few times. Again, the game is still going to be physical, and I wouldn't be surprised at all. Cleveland probably wins. I'm just saying, wouldn't be surprised. I said on this podcast 2 weeks ago the Jets were going to beat them. Said that before the Jets had won a game. I said that on this podcast 2 weeks ago.
You said that 3 weeks ago when it was just you, Danny, and I.
Yeah, before they beat the Rams, I said that. Because this Browns team, I've been saying it all year, they have a negative point differential on the season. Their DVOA ranking is outside the top 20. Of all those teams vying for the playoffs, I think they're the ones that deserve it the least. I know they beat up the Titans, and I know that was like a really big win, and they had a close game against the Ravens. But they've been playing a lot of close games against a lot of bad teams. And Baker has had some – when Baker is bad, he's really bad this year, even though he's had some games where he's been excellent. And they have a negative point differential for a reason. I think it would be really unfair if they were to make the playoffs instead of the Colts. When I think the Colts, even though they beat the Colts have a more impressive resume, beating the Titans, beating the Packers, and just in general, like looking more competent on both sides of the ball. So, yeah, that's my hope, is that the Browns choke this game and the Colts get in ahead of them because they deserve it. But,
man,
yeah.
The kid literally said everything I was going to say.
Yeah.
Every word.
Every word, yeah. That's funny.
This is my wheelhouse, man. I hate this Browns team. And this Mark Danny, who I'm going to bury, even though he's not here on the podcast, was praising how good they've looked, how good their offenses looked, how they're going to destroy the Jets, all this and that. And he could just suck it. I'm sick and tired of Baker Mayfield with pressure in his face, playing terrible. He's the new Jared Goff. He's the new Kirk Cousins, and I'm fucking tired.
Now who's been saying that about this kid for years?
Markeem, back in 2017, when he won the Heisman, told me I think this kid might be a system quarterback, and I think he's a little overrated. 2017, he said that.
Now, I will say this. He's been way better than I thought he'd be.
Sure.
I'll say that. But he's not very... I don't think he's very good.
I do think his option gets picked up for next year, though, in the 5th year.
Well, probably just because it's, they're in a tough spot. But don't be surprised if they just renew the option and, don't offer him a contract extension just yet. That kind of middle ground, let's give it another year, let's see what happens kind of approach.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be in that weird Mitch Trubisky middle ground, which we'll get into in a little bit. Next up, Vikings-Lions. Do we even care about this game, or?
The Lions don't care.
Playoffs, move on. Playoffs, not move on.
The Lions don't care. Why should we care?
Yeah, Lions literally don't care. Did you see the
straight up quit on Saturday?
Lions game? The Bucks were I think the Lions put in their cheerleaders or something.
Hey, kid, I'm gonna ask you a question.
What's
All right, Matthew Stafford, is he a Hall of Famer?
No.
Hall of Famer? Not a joke.
No, he's a good quarterback. He's not a Hall of Famer.
Let me ask y'all another question. Look at his numbers, man.
I know.
Look at his numbers.
Yes, he might finish his career with the most passing yards in NFL history. I know all that.
It's hard to say someone like that isn't a Hall of Famer.
I know, but what's his what are the Hall of Fame
moments?
I agree with you. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying it'll look really weird keeping the all-time leading passer.
Well, Markeem, I will say this: there's a lot of rumors that Stafford could come to New England. If he came to New England and won a Super Bowl, there you go. There's his Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah. If he somehow wins a ring with those numbers, he's getting in the Hall.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially if Eli Manning is getting in the Hall, which he is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So who?
I'd still
Eli Manning.
Oh, Eli. Yeah. Let's talk about that guy.
That's also help of brother and father. Jets, Patriots. Phil, are we winning to finish the year? Or are we losing?
I mean, we're winning because the Jets are trash, but we don't need to win. But Bill Belichick's gonna try. Well, hold on. Let me backtrack. I forgot. If he decides to still start Cam Newton, I think we win. But if he decides to just give Stidham the entire game, then we lose.
I was gonna ask you guys this. I don't know what you guys think as Patriots fans. I'm so sick of this outcry to start Stidham. I don't get it.
No. Thank you, Big Rat. Thank you. I knew there was. It makes zero sense. One, what we've seen from. All right, look, I was 100% behind the Stidham train going into the season if that's who we had, because I was confident that if Bill was confident in going with him, we were good. The second we signed Newton, I was like, the doubt started coming, because I'm like, if he's signing Newton, there's something he does not believe in Jarrett Stidham, or doesn't believe he's ready, or whatever. And then I saw the times that Jarrett Stidham did come in, and he looked absolute horseshit. So, this is what I mean. Let's say this for the end, but there are some things I want to say about what New England will do in the future, what I think they should do based on as of right now. So we'll save that, but I don't get the whole put Stidham in. Yeah, the game was out of reach. Yeah, put Stidham in, which is what Bill did. But guys, I fought with Danny today. If you watch this team, Danny doesn't watch any non-Jets games. That's very, very clear. But or the games that don't involve anything something along the Jets have some kind of tie there.
Yeah, y'all just burying Dan in three whole shows.
I love him to death, dude. I love him to
death. This whole show just killing him.
I'm just saying, listen, dude. I'm getting really loud, but let me just say this. Cam is the best player outside of our punter. Jake Bailey's been amazing, but so I'm not getting out of there. He's the best player on that team this year. It's not even close. It's not even close. So, and I get it. Cam still has his struggles. There's issues there, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Like I said, I want to side that for now. But if you don't watch New England, figure out you came on here and said this. COVID, I'm not saying that COVID is the reason that we lost the division, but COVID is the reason that we lost several games. It just is. And if you don't believe that, then I don't know what to tell you. Obviously, we knew going into the season that we wouldn't have Hightower, guys like that, but COVID did affect us, and there's games that were close. Seattle was 1 yard. We get that game, boom. Now we're 8-8. Okay, so boom. Then Kansas City, we have Cam Newton. Let's just say we win that. Obviously, ifs, ands, or buts, or candies and nuts, or whatever. But I'm just saying, people think this.
Did you just say if, ands, or but?
Yes, he did.
What the hell?
I butchered it, but it says
Griff,
something.
is there any way you can cut off his mic?
Nuts.
I mean,
yeah, like for real. What the hell was that?
That's a
Like on around the horn when Tony Reale hears something outrageous and it's like, all right, that's it.
yep. I just muted Phil for a couple minutes.
Ifs, ands, or buts.
I heard that since I was a kid. What the hell was that?
Man, I should just make this like around the horn style. Like, thanks. Okay, I'm like the less Italian Tony Reale.
I have a visual of Phil not realizing that he's muted and like
muted.
over his computer.
Should I unmute him?
Yeah, go ahead and mute him.
But you can tell us your thing on the game too.
Okay, just give me a second. I gotta figure out the way to unmute him.
What if the only other way to unmute him is to boot him from the call?
You know what? I'm gonna boot him from the call, and then I'm gonna add him.
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, here he's back. He's back.
You muted me, you asshole. When did you mute me?
You didn't even realize it.
I didn't realize it. When he doesn't know he's muted, I'm like, wait, I'm actually muted during this?
Yeah, I muted you, dude.
Man.
After the ifs, ands, and buts, candies, and nuts. What the hell? Oh, man.
Hey, listen, I'm the entertainment. They come for me, okay?
Oh my god, I know. I did it just for the lulz, man. Oh,
I got you. You're good. It's hilarious.
Yes.
Absolutely hilarious.
my take on this game quickly. I'm picking New England just because I think, look, I think Bill's gonna want to finish on a high hat. I don't think he's gonna want to lose to the Jets, especially after the last 3 games are absolutely horrendous. I only want to see Stidham starting if he's taking first team reps in practice all week. Besides that, I don't want to see any of this oh, hey, if Cam's having a bad day, just yank him and put in Stidham. No, because that's not a reliable option. I also don't think that the starter is in New England for next year. So that's just my 2 cents on it. And it's Tom McCarthy and Jay Feely calling this game. I don't remember the last time that this low grade of a broadcast team was in Foxborough for a game this late into the year.
Yeah, I remember earlier in the season when they already. I saw some Patriots fans be like, "Damn, we have to subject ourselves to Spiro Adidas and Adam Archuleta. Now you don't even get Spiro Adidas."
Yeah, that's how bad we are. We don't even get Spiro.
Oh my god, that almost killed me. I was drinking a cup of water. Hey, Jay Feely is so bad. He's so bad.
Man, after last night's game, I could go off on a tangent about the Monday Night Football booth. I cannot stand any one of those 3 guys anymore.
Well,
I don't like it neither.
Well, Louis Riddick might leave on his own just to get a front office job because he's getting all these interviews.
Yeah.
So
I think Louis Riddick is smart. I just don't think he's good at that.
Yeah.
At all.
And Greasy's
way too much like a fan.
yeah.
It's a hard job. It's not an easy job. To be able to, I think Booger McFarlane, he did an interview because he got killed when he was on Monday Night Football, and he was explaining that he didn't think most football fans realize how fast everything's going on. Collecting your thoughts on the analysis, and then there's another snap and another play and another jersey number you have to know and a penalty you have to spot. And he was just I don't think most fans realize how hard it is because of how quickly it all goes.
Yeah.
I've done stats in high school or for high school stat football game, and that's not nearly as fast. And so I definitely understand that.
I get it's not faster and everything like that. It's just my gripe's more with Brian Greasy, just because Greasy's always just throwing in random stuff. Even to the game Pittsburgh-Cincinnati, he's just there and he'll just say something random. It's it's not as bad as Jason Witten was, but it's just dude, you don't ESPN has a real problem with the booth being consistent because it's been different the last 4 seasons.
Oh, it's been like that in every sport. They're all trash. All of them. They're all trash.
Only Fowler and Herbstreit.
I'll take their interns over Chris Collinsworth.
hey, Collinsworth just puts out the obvious all the time.
Yeah.
Back when I played wide receiver, Chris Collinsworth never give a damn way you play for the damn Bengals. Shut up.
To Chris' point, before we get on to the next game, I think that's the problem with replacing these guys. It's almost like the Browns always changing coaches. It's going to be hard to attract the right guys for the job if you just keep firing the staff after every year. So
If you hired me, and they'd be all good.
Unless they want to poach Tony Romo for ridiculous money from CBS, I don't see them going after any big fish.
Hey, who would have thought he was as good as he is at this?
Bro, Romo is unreal. He is
Holy shit, man.
with no experience, it's not like he took a year off to study this.
Honest to God, I'm surprised Kansas City didn't hire him for after he completely knew exactly what Tom Brady was doing against Kansas City in that first championship game. I'm surprised Kansas City didn't call the next year and be like, okay, we want you.
That's another dude. I wish his luck wasn't so bad because I always thought he was really good.
I still say, and people call me crazy, especially Dallas fans, I still say he's the best Dallas quarterback of all time. But
I can't put him over Starbuck.
But I didn't watch Staubach. Right. I didn't watch him, so that's why.
But I do think he's better than Aikman. 100%.
Yeah, there's a lot of smart football writers who think the same about Romo.
Yeah. If I had to pick the best booth from ESPN, it is Fowler and Herbstreit, but I know we will never see them on the regular NFL beat just because Herbstreit's just so dedicated to college football.
And his kids are in college football too.
They quote unquote play for Clemson. Sorry, for those that don't know that.
Phil been on a roll tonight, man.
I personally know someone that goes to Clemson. They say they're literally just on the team. That's pretty much, I love Kirk Herbstreit though. I do. He's Ohio State guy. I still love him.
Don't take him away from college football. I really loved when he was doing the UNC.
He
was doing the UNC Miami game, and he said that Miami was going to lose all their equity if they didn't fight back in the second half. And sure enough,
the only time that I've go ahead, my bad, Big Red.
No, I said what I needed to say.
The only thing I'll say about Kirk Herbstreit, since we're talking about him, is he disappointed me because I thought he brought up Coastal Carolina, so I gave him props to that in the college football playoff show. But Joey Galloway, he was arguing back and forth, and Kirk Herbstreit was doing the whole clearly defending the Power Fives, and Joey Galloway was like, "You're full of he's like, you really think that Cincinnati could hang with so and so?" And I'm like, looking at the eye test, and Kirk Herbstreit's like, "They're not, they're Power Five." But obviously he was trying to counter. So, but I love Kirk Herbstreit, but he was very Power Five hungry. Obviously paid by them.
I'm not ready to buy stock in Cincinnati until the first. We'll see. We'll see how that goes.
I agree with that.
We'll see. We got back on college. Let's move on.
Well, speaking of Dallas and Romo, Giants-Cowboys, which this game has a lot more on the line than people think. Because if the last game of the night, if the Eagles win this week, the winner of this game, they're NFC East champs. So, I feel like fans of both will be.
Eagles win. That's your problem right there.
I think this game, honestly, is both fan bases. I think they'll be happy either way because hey, if we win, great, we have a chance to make the playoffs. But if we lose, you know what? You're gonna get a top draft pick and build towards the future.
What game is this?
Dallas and New York.
Man, who cares, man?
Yeah.
Really, who really gives a shit?
Here, I'll give my one opinion. I have a sneaking feeling the Giants win this game, and that kind of bothers me because I don't want them to win. I just think having the Cowboys in the playoffs would be fun. Yeah, they won't win, but it would just be like, all right, get Jerry in there, get Andy Dalton in there for another playoff loss. It would just be like a little moment that I would look forward to. Also, the game would be in Cowboy Stadium, which would have fans, which would be kind of cool. But I don't, for whatever reason, I just have a weird feeling the Giants might win this thing because they're well coached. Their defense has been giving some teams some problems, and I think they're losing. They just lost 3 straight. One of them, they didn't have Daniel Jones. The other one, Daniel Jones could barely play. And the last week was against the Ravens where they just got torched. And I think that they're not quite as bad as people think, as the last 3 weeks have told us. And I think the Cowboys have been riding high for a few weeks. They're kind of due for a come down a little bit. And it's really hard to sweep anybody in the NFC East. Cowboys beat the Giants earlier this year. It's got a weird feeling. Giants win this game. So that'll be my one. I don't think they'll win the division because I do think Washington will win, but I do think they can win this game. So I'll say that.
Big Rat, I have a hypothetical for you. What if the Giants win this game, somehow win the division, play the Bucs wild card weekend, and then the Giants beat the Bucs in the wild card?
Oh my god!
And then
You would have a 6-10 team in the divisional round. Markeem's head would explode. Like, he'd want to destroy the NFL playoff format at that level.
It's more for the lulls of just Tom Brady not being able to beat the Giants in the playoffs.
Yeah, but I agree with you, but yes, it would be funny. And, like, I get it. Like, if they lose to, like, Washington, you know, it'll just be like, all right, whatever. Like, it is what it is. Losing to the Giants carries that, like, little legacy value. So that'd be fun.
Yeah.
But I don't think this Giants team is, like, a real threat to anyone. Like, at least the Cowboys, like, have a talented offense, and at least the Redskins, I mean, gosh, the football team, my bad. Been a while. The football team at least has, like, a really dominant D-line. So at least those are, like, points of intrigue.
And a quarterback who had a stripper problem.
Well, yeah, that's a different issue altogether. But, and now he's not even on a roster anymore.
Yep.
But at least...
No, he's not.
At least the Giants, their thing is, like, they're kind of frisky on defense sometimes. Like, I just don't know if that's enough to really be a threat. Like, those other two teams at least have a clear, like, strength. So that's why I would prefer to see them.
Yeah, I'd prefer to see Washington or thing too. I just said that just because. And the last game of the 1 o'clock hour is Tampa versus Atlanta, which I'm pretty sure Tampa should win, and we'll probably see another Blaine Gabbert appearance at some point.
If Dan Quinn was halfway decent,
no,
halfway decent, they'd be a better team. Because Atlanta isn't bad; they just lose a lot of close games. We've seen it all year.
Yeah, and they're 4-6 since Dan Quinn got fired, and even that 4-6 also had some close games.
Like, because here's the thing. They had their best record when he was there, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean, if he was decent, he would still be there and they'd be winning games. I really believe that.
I agree. Atlanta's actually really talented.
If he was still there, who are you talking about?
Quinn.
Oh, Quinn.
He's fired.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying if he was still there, they'd be winning right now.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I know. I was kind of weird about that. If he was still there, they'd be winning games right now. They would win those close games they've been losing.
But he was so bad that he got himself fired.
That's what I'm saying. They were getting blown out and shit. But, like, you know what I mean?
Well, they also blew leads to Dallas and Chicago.
He would win the close games they've been losing. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're on to the 425, which there is, let me do some math here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games in the 425 slot, which, holy crap, this is going to be a great red zone finale. Saints-Panthers, I got to go with the who dat. It's like, look, last week was a kind of game where they're starting to get their groove back.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think. I mean, we'll get on. There's other games, and this is kind of a spoiler for what I think could happen in other games. But I actually think the Saints are going to go in with the number 1 seed. And that's a bold prediction, but I do think the Saints end up getting that number 1 seed. And I think the Saints are. I like the Saints beginning of the year, and I think they're coming on strong at the right time. Yeah, I usually like the Saints.
I think I don't know if they're going to get the number 1 seed, but I still would. This is still my pick to win the NFC. It was before the season. I know the Packers. I know what they did, and I know what everyone's going to say. Drew Brees in the cold in Lambeau. If it were to come to that, you know, that is not a good environment for his arm and for where he's at in his career. I've just all year I've been getting 2015 Broncos vibe from the Saints team, where like it's Drew Brees' last year. Everyone, I mean, it's not official, but like we've had Matt on the show before.
It definitely should be.
It should be, and Matt, who's been on the show before, has told us that there's a lot of people in New Orleans who think it is too. So you get that vibe that this is his last year. They're a perennial playoff team that hasn't been to the Super Bowl yet in this decade, and it just feels like, you know, they're going to do what they do. They're going to be a 12-win team. They're going to be deep in the playoffs again, and I just get a vibe that this is the time where they finally put it all together, and Drew Brees rides off into the sunset. So for that reason, I do think they can win the NFC. So it wouldn't surprise me if they like win the 1 seed to get there. That would make sense. It's easier to win the NFC if all the games are in the Superdome. But I still think the Packers are going to take care of the Bears this weekend. So predicting that.
Why did you turn into Stu Gatz just now? they'll put it all together. Really big.
Their defense has legitimately been really good this year. This is the best defense they've had in the last 5 playoff teams they've had.
Yeah.
Like it's been good.
I'll say this though, they are sorry to cut you off, but they are their own worst enemy at this point. Like they're only gonna go as far as their team will carry them, and I honestly can see them being in Tampa come February 7th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next up we've got the Packers versus the Bears, where this is another one.
I can't pick the game.
Oh, sorry man. Sorry man. My mind's all over the place. Sorry man. Markeem, Saints or Panthers?
If I'm the Panthers, I just say fuck it and just chill, because like you're literally playing for nothing. Let everyone rest and just pack it up, try again next year. So I got the Saints. That's just me.
No McCaffrey, I believe.
Yeah,
not at all.
Wouldn't assume so.
None of that.
One thing I will say about the Panthers is though, be potentially prepared to lose Joe Brady, or at least there's going to be sparks of interview interest for him.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah,
it's possible. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, if not this year, I mean, Panthers haven't looked horrible at times. So
yeah, they just. Well, I want to see. I'm excited to see what they do in the draft this year, because they went all defense last year. So I want to see if they can add any offensive weapons in the offseason. Packers versus Bears. This is simple for the Bears. Win and you're in. And let's be honest, Mitch Trubisky's looked kind of good the last few weeks or so.
Because he's not that bad. He's not good,
yes.
But he was never that bad.
Yes, I'm with Markeem on this.
Same.
The meme behind him got a little out of control. Like, he was never as bad as Blake Bortles at his absolute worst was. Like, people picking him out to be.
And he was never as bad as Nick Foles is. So what are we doing?
Yeah, man! Hell yeah!
There's literally arguments now about that. Like, if Nagy should have pulled him in the first place, which I don't think he should have.
The thing is, everybody thinks because Mitch is not Patrick Mahomes that he sucks. And look, yes, Patrick Mahomes is great, but like obviously Patrick Mahomes fell for a reason, right? Markeem, would you agree?
Oh, Patrick Mahomes, I was the first to say when he was in college, I didn't see any of this shit.
Right, exactly.
At all.
And I think there's a lot to say about where he went to, but that's just me. But yeah, like, I mean, obviously he's great now, but I'm saying like I think he went to the probably the second best place he could have went with Andy Reid. So, but yeah, like, I just think that people take that out of context, and so they attacked Mitch for that. I don't think Mitch is that bad either. The Bears aren't that good. Like, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Like, they don't have.
To add on to the Mahomes point, I found this very interesting. Tyreek Hill was asked what he thought of Mahomes when he first saw him as a rookie, and
Tyreek thought he was trash.
He thought he sucked. And there's like some QB evaluators I follow on Twitter who were like, "Look at Mahomes' footwork at Texas Tech; it was god awful."
Yeah,
like,
he was bad. Like, remember that draft video we had, kid? I was like, this dude is terrible.
He said he was feeling raw too.
Which is why I hate, like, that's why I hate the whole argument. Let's go back and redraft. Like, of course, if you knew like guarantees, everyone would draft Patrick Mahomes number 1 in that draft. But that's the whole point. That's what the draft is. There aren't guarantees.
I'm already dealing with this bullshit for all the people that think that Justin Herbert should have clearly been the first overall pick, when fucking no one had him as the first overall pick last year. What the hell are we doing?
Like, you can think, like, okay, like, all right, on that argument, like, you can think that Justin Herbert, like, I thought going in, like, Justin Herbert just seemed like he just seemed really, really good, but I didn't think that you could take him logically over Tua. I thought, like, if he fell to you and you couldn't get Tua, that I think you actually got a blessing, but...
That's another dude where I could just say, my bad. My bad.
He had a bad junior year. Everyone thought so. Like, everyone thought he regressed his last year in Oregon. Like, it's okay to admit that. Both things can be true.
He's fucking amazing, though.
Yes, he's really good. I have to live with this like for the rest of my life. I know he's really good.
Yeah. So I think Big Rat said it earlier with the Packers. Markeem and Phil, who do we see winning this game?
I'll go.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've got Bears in the upset. It's a must-win for them. The Packers don't have to win, and the Packers have looked awful again in actual games. Like, I mean, obviously the Tennessee game, like, that seems to be an anomaly. I can't say the word.
Anomaly.
Like, I'm not impressed with Green Bay. Like, yes, I'll give them props. They looked good last week. And it's, what have you done for me lately? So people get distracted by that. But me and Big Rat are big advocates on this, like a 3 week, like you have to look at it like at least a 3 to 4 week like window.
And a body of work, yeah.
Yeah, body of work. And I'm not impressed with Green Bay. Like, okay, congratulations, you beat Tennessee. Well, guess what? Tennessee got beat by the damn Browns. So I mean, I'm not like everybody has beaten everybody this year. The Packers looked horrible against the Bucs, who also went and lost to the Bears. So I just think that this is a game where you can't tell me that the Bears can't win this, and it's in Chicago, and Green Bay's coming off of this, we're high and mighty win. So I think this is a perfect scenario where the Bears can win. Now, granted, they're still the Bears. Maybe they pull the Bears and Green Bay wins, but as Nightmare Ball 1 joins my Xbox on the background. But no, but yeah, so that I think the Bears pull the upset. I may be crazy, but
I got the Bears too in a close game. I think that I think that this will be dictated by pace. If Aaron Rodgers and them, they start slow, it'll be close. And if it's close, I got the Bears. If they start fast, if the Bears go down quick, I got the Packers. But I don't think they will.
Right. So like the Packers went up strong against the Bucs, but the Bucs have an offense to come back.
Yeah. I don't think the Bears have that. And I don't think they will. I think they'll keep it close early and win by like a field goal.
Yeah, I agree.
And also remember too, the Bears got killed last time they played the Packers on Sunday Night Football.
And it's hard to do that. It's hard to do that twice.
So. It's hard to sweep division games. Yeah. Generally, I still got the Packers, but I mean I understand the counter arguments too. I do not think this is a small game for Green Bay though. Like they need to win this game to get the number 1 seed, to get a bye, and to get all the playoff games in Lambeau for the rest of the year. And I do think that. Albert Breer said this the other day, and I agree with him. I do think a home game in Lambeau, even with no fans, it does have somewhat of a home field advantage. It's going to be cold. It's going to be cold. It's going to be dark. It's like a fucking miserable stadium to play in, like late at night. Like I really do think that home field advantage for Green Bay, even with no fans, I do think that specific environment could matter. So
all right, kid. Here's my counter argument to that. While I agree, like for the opposing. Especially offense, like it's definitely tough. But my counter to that is people think, well, Aaron Rodgers is gonna cook. You know what I mean? And he still has to throw it in them conditions too, especially without this crowd and the adrenaline. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just gonna be ugly all the way around. You know what I'm saying?
And that bad man ain't as bad as everybody thinks he is. But I'm just saying.
All right, let's go on to the next one before it fights.
Hold on. What?
No. Great.
I'm gonna let it go. I still will stand by that. Is Aaron Rodgers amazing? Yes. Is he overrated to a certain degree? I agree. I do think he is. I do.
Wow.
But Markeem, listen. When I'm saying this, because people are gonna ostracize me. I mean overrated because people still like year after year say he's the best quarterback in the league. I strongly disagree with that.
He is this year, though.
He is this year. He's my MVP pick.
He's having arguably his best season, which is kind of nuts when you think about it.
He's about to tie Tom Brady in MVPs. Not Peyton Manning, of course, who has 5, but he's going to
shut the fuck up, man.
We're going back to old. Hey, we can't help it. We can't help it, guys.
It's 2012 up in here.
He's done well. He's done well lately. And clearly, he's the MVP, like the actual MVP of his team, because without him, they're trash. But still.
All right. On to the next
one. Man.
I can't agree with that, Phil. I'm sorry.
Colts, Jags. It's a 14.5 point spread. Do the Colts cover?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to say no.
The Jags aren't even going to show up to this game.
I'm going to say no, but I have no real argument for it. I'm just going to be different from them. And it's a division game, so why not? I'm just going to say no, just for the lulz.
True.
Oh, okay.
All elite Trevor Lawrence, baby.
Texans versus the Titans. Do we? I'm just gonna ask this right now. Do the Titans win the division, or do the Colts find a way to win the South?
Ooh. I think. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I'll start. This is kind of weird for me to say. Obviously, like most would agree, this is like one of the tougher games for all the playoff teams this weekend. I know the Texans are terrible, but there's Deshaun's probably going to play. That's what Romeo Crennel said. And their offense is still elite, and the Titans' defense is still horrible. So that is like a bad matchup, especially with the game being in Houston and all that. I'm going to say the Titans win the division, though, because I do think they're a better team than the Colts. I know they're more imbalanced. Their defense is nowhere near as good as the Colts is. I know that. And the Colts' offense is still good. But the Titans' offense is elite. Before last week, they led the NFL in total points this year. Not Kansas City, not Green Bay. It was the Tennessee Titans.
I didn't know that.
Here's a crazy stat. Like, Derrick Henry is on track. Could get to 2,000 yards. If he needs to rush for like 225 this game, which is a big ask. But as someone pointed out, he ran for 215 when he played the Texans the first time this year. So it is within the realm of possibility. But not only when you have a running back run for 2,000 yards, you would think, okay, so the passing game volume offense is low in the touchdown department because the running back is the engine of the offense. Like when Adrian Peterson ran for 2,000 yards, Christian Ponder wasn't lighting up the scoreboard either. Ryan Tannehill is on track to break the Titans franchise record for passing touchdowns in a season. How can you do that at the same time your running back rushes for 2,000 yards? Like, that's how good this offense is. I know they were terrible last week, but I just think even though they're more imbalanced than the Colts, their elite is at an elite level. And I think they deserve to win the division for that reason. And I think if you watch both Titans-Colts games, the Titans were the better team. Like in that first Colts game where the Colts won, they blocked 2 punts. Like there was a lot of fluky things that happened. And in the second game, the Titans just beat them up and down the field. Yeah. So I think the Titans deserve to win the division. And for that reason, I'm going to say that they win this game and they win the division. But obviously I recognize they have a harder matchup than the Colts do. But I'm still going to pick the Titans because I just think they deserve it.
Big Rat, sorry to cut you off, Phil. I just want to say something quickly. Big Rat, the Colts right now are giving me those like Miami Dolphin vibes from like the Ryan Tannehill days where they lose the games that they have to win.
It's possible. It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
And look. Everyone and like I said last year, I think after the loss, Tennessee, like if you beat the Patriots, like my eyes are forever on you, right? Especially the Brady level Patriots, right? So Tennessee, like, is quietly because like they're the same team as last year. Like, I mean, you can make the argument that like their defense is worse. I guess maybe would you say that? I don't.
It is.
Yeah. It is definitely worse, right? Malcolm Butler got
that secondary is definitely worse.
It's the worst third down defense in NFL history.
It got lit up last week by Devontae Adams, but no. So I think people are like sleeping on this. Like this Tennessee team is now being slept on after last year upsetting New England, upsetting Baltimore, and arguably had a very good chance of beating Kansas City. They just, the offense of Kansas City was just unstoppable in the end, right? So, I mean, I think this year, like, I wouldn't sleep on Tennessee, so I think they win this game. I think they win this game, win the division, and get the 4th seed, right? But also, I want to just mention something across the way. J.J. Watt's speech last week was unbelievable. If you haven't seen it, it says speech, but it was an interview. J.J. Watt is fired up. I think J.J. Watt, this is his last year in Houston. I just see it. I don't unless they literally like clean house everywhere else, which I don't see they're going to do. I think J.J. Watt.
How many years does he have left on that contract?
Is he a free agent or is he? No, he's not.
No.
So they would.
I'm going to look it up.
If you're Houston, if you want to move on, and J.J. Watt seems to think that this team does not care. And he does not like it. If you watch that interview, like, is he like J.J. Watt has had it, and obviously he's done a lot for the city of Houston. But maybe he decides he wants to do a lot for another city as well as play and finish out.
He's got one more year, but if he's cut, he's got one more year, but with no guaranteed money.
Correct. So he could be cut.
Yeah.
I don't know if he would be traded or not. So there's weird things involved in that, right? But I'm predicting also that J.J. Watt will not. This will be his last game as a Houston Texan.
It could be the thing where like Houston wants to do right by him as arguably the greatest player in franchise history. Like
arguably,
Andre Johnson,
J.J. Watt. Don't do this. Don't do this, kids.
Andre Johnson was one of the best receivers in the league.
He was. J.J. Watt was the best player in the league for like 3 seasons.
I get you. I just threw out a contender. Andre Johnson was the best receiver in the league.
You're right. That would be the second. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think I think, like you said, I think they help him out. So I think they try to trade him to
a team he wants to go to.
Yeah, whatever he wants to go to. I mean, I don't even think, honestly, I know a lot of people, I would love for him to come to New England, but I don't even think that's the team. Like, I think he's going to want to go to a city that he can, legit help and then also, win a championship. I don't know what that perfect team is for that, but
Green Bay Packers.
Packers might be a good example.
That's special.
Wisconsin boy as well.
Yeah, also true.
Or he goes to the Steelers and imagine TJ and JJ coming off the line of scrimmage there. Good Lord.
That's a dude when he was in college, man. You just saw it. You knew it.
Yeah.
You knew what was about to happen.
Yeah.
You just knew. You knew it. But yeah, man. I got the Titans, and I think the Titans are again scary. If you know anything about the NFL, elite running backs in the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Just saying, man. Like Derrick Henry ran them to the AFC Championship game last year. Who's to say he can't run them all the way to the Super Bowl this year? He's even better this year.
And I can make an argument, Markeem, to interrupt you, that Kansas City's not as good as they were last year.
It's close.
It's debatable. It's debatable, right? But
yeah, I can see that.
I'll say I don't think their defense is as good as it was last year. Their defense last year in December gave up 10 points a game because they had Bashad Breeland and Kendall Fuller and Honey Badger and Frank Clark and Chris Jones all playing well at a high level. They lost Kendall Fuller back to the Redskins this year. It's a small loss, but I don't know. I get their defense is liable to give up a lot of big drives, whereas last year around this time their defense was playing better. I know the Texans got 24 free points, but part of that was turnovers and special teams issues. So yeah, I get what you're saying though.
Hey, can I just say, fellas? God damn, I missed this. Remember this? Dude, we used to do this? Oh, man.
I'm telling you, dude. It just comes natural to us three.
I'm feeling nostalgic right now, man. I'm not going to lie. Griff is here. Griff, you're witnessing history, Griff. You know that? History.
I'm the mastermind who brought this all together for the reunion. We'll have to do this again, though, just for everyone out there. In the playoffs, if we can get us all together, but definitely in the offseason where we can just talk and throw out takes.
Yeah.
I got a few.
Oh, yeah. I do think it is JJ's last season. I started going on that train a couple weeks ago just because I also think, too, if the Texans can find a way to deal him where they can get some draft capital back, which they kind of need, they'll do it as well.
I think that it'll be a conversation where he tells them, hey, I don't want to be here, and they'll try and move him.
Yeah. I think he's the best player though because everything off the field he's done as well, and he's basically embraced being a member of the city of Houston.
He's the Derek Jeter of the Houston Texans.
Yeah,
real talk.
Except he doesn't bang a bunch of supermodels and then send them a fruit basket.
Like that.
Wow.
I mean, he is married to a professional soccer player.
I do, by the way, y'all. I very much need Miami Dolphins at Tennessee Titans, the Ryan Tannehill Revenge Bowl.
Oh
yeah.
That'll be a fun time.
But he might kill y'all though.
He might. No, but it's kind of fun. You would think I'd be upset about that, but there were so many Miami beat writers that treated him like garbage while he was here that I would really love for them to write articles being like, we were wrong, we're idiots, we're sorry, he's actually really good. Obviously I want to advance far in the playoffs, but I don't know, facing the Titans, I agree they're legitimate, but facing the Titans or facing the Bills or facing the Chiefs or facing the Ravens, it's going to be hard no matter what.
They won't be an easy out, to say the least.
Yeah.
Hey, kid, I'm going to ask you, is Ryan Tannehill one of the 5 best QBs in the league?
He has been the last 2 years. I don't know if he is overall. The last 2 years he has been, though. I don't think you can argue that. But I think overall, if you had to, with a fresh start, with a new season, with new rosters, I think he's just outside that. Probably lower in the top 10. But last 2 years, he's been a top 5 quarterback by all the numbers. It's not that arguable. But he's probably not top 5 overall.
Do you want to know?
That's so crazy. To think the only people that were defending him were me and you.
Yeah.
It's just us.
Just remember, a friendly reminder to the audience, Danny was yelling at me, telling me that Nick Foles was a better quarterback than Ryan Tannehill for 6 years. So
What?
Yeah. Oh, that's not you. He was
on the championship.
Yeah. This is why we bury him every other segment.
Ho. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get into this real quick. I don't want to take too much time. All right. Why is everyone in love? I understand he won a Super Bowl, but there was a reason why they didn't name him the starter. Like, think about it this way, okay?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how bad Carson Wentz has been. I mean, or any starter for that matter. There's a reason why the backup is the backup. Because as bad as the starter has been, the backup is probably worse. I mean,
Yeah.
that's always the case. Why did people think he was so good? He's one of the greatest backup quarterbacks, backup athletes in all of team sports history. I mean, but he's a backup. That's what he is. Why did we do this? Why did that happen?
Because people think Tom Brady's the GOAT because he won 6 rings. So when Nick Foles wins a ring, that has to mean something. That has to mean that we've been underrating him, and he's actually really good this whole time.
That Eagles team is one of the best teams in NFL history.
That roster was loaded.
And to think where they are now. Next up, we've got Chargers at Chiefs. I'm going to ask a simple question. How soon after the game is Anthony Lynn fired, along with probably 3 other coaches?
What if he wins? What if he wins and they're like, oh, he finished 7-9?
No. You compared the team to fucking Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, no.
Just like if Adam Gase wins his 3rd straight game and it's like, look at that 3-game winning streak. No. It's not happening. It's not happening. The Chargers, he deserves to be fired. Their record in close games is like, even with the last 2 wins, it's like 5-15 the last 2 years. It's something that defies logic. Like, it shouldn't be possible.
I feel bad because Anthony Lynn, you know, I mean, he's a brother, but he got to go, man. He got to go.
He'll bounce back though. He'll be an offensive coordinator somewhere next year though. I can guarantee you that.
Kill it and absolutely kill it. Absolutely.
Yeah, he'll do well too.
Yeah, and then in like 3 years, it's going to be like the same thing with I was going to say Adam Gase. Let's just say he's going to be, and then in a few years, it's going to be, let's say it's going to be like Pat Shurmur, where Pat Shurmur went to Minnesota, made some noise. So it's like, hey, let's give this guy a second chance. And then the Giants regretted it. So in like 5 years, someone's going to go, hey, yeah, Anthony Lynn, he was a head coach before. Let's interview him and give him the job. And then they realize, oh, wait, why the hell did we hire this guy again?
I'll always say Pat Shurmur got a raw deal in Cleveland. I'll always say that.
You said that?
That team was terrible. What did you expect him to do but lose?
That's one of my favorites, since we're being nostalgic here, Griff, and YouTube take back in the day in 2012 when he got fired. Markeem famously, he was ranting about this, and he just goes, I mean, damn it, you're the Browns. You suck. What did you expect? You're the Browns. You suck.
Oh, I love it. I love the nostalgic feelings. But before we get to the next game, I got to tell you guys something. I was going to name the episode YouTube Take Edition, but I got to rename it to If It's, Ands, and Butts Were Candy and Nuts. I'm sorry, I got to. Moment of the night.
I am known for sound bites, so you're welcome.
Yes, you are. Also, too, did any of you guys remember the Jamal Adams clip for where he was trying to get into the Jets building, but his code wasn't working? He's like, oh, I guess I got cut. That's going to be Anthony Lynn Monday morning. He's going to, enter his, put his key fob to the door, enter his code to get into the building, and the doors aren't going to open for him.
They're going to fire him on the team bus. It's going to be like Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin style.
Or like Joe Philbin, where it's on the airplane coming back on the airplane.
Lane Kiffin is a Power 5 head coach again.
Yeah, I know. Let's just not do this. I'm not doing this right now.
He did it again.
Wait, where's Lane Kiffin at?
Isn't he at Ole Miss?
Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Ole Miss?
And his defense is horrible. Again.
Ole Miss hasn't been good since, the only reason I only know that school is because of the fucking Blind Side.
How does he keep doing this, man?
I don't know.
How does he...
You were complaining about this in 2012. It's been 8 years.
He keeps doing it? He ruined Tennessee. The Raiders were already bad, so I was like, okay, fine. Then he ruined Tennessee. He ruined USC. He went to Alabama and rolled Nick Saban to a championship. I'm not going to say that. He did okay. He went to Florida Atlantic, started winning games, and I knew someone would take a chance. I knew it.
And there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
One other question I wanted to ask, or one team I was thinking of where if Anthony Lynn, once he is fired, where I think they should consider hiring him as an OC, is Chicago, because let's be honest, Bill Lazor is not the guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's tough. So there's a rumor that apparently Nagy took back play calling last week or so. We don't know for sure. The offense has been playing better lately, though. So I don't know. Is that Mitch? Is that Nagy taking back play calling? Is that Bill Lazor? I don't know.
I think Nagy keeps his job, by the way. I just...
He should keep his job.
I think next year he's on the hot... Next year is a year where it's either get your shit right or get out.
I mean, if he makes the playoffs... Well, I've made the playoffs twice in 3 years with, like, Trubisky. Like, I don't know. Like, that's pretty impressive. Like, for all his flaws. Like, even last year, their down year, quote-unquote, the way people talk about Trubisky and the Bears team last year, you would think they went 2-14. They went 8-8. Like, they were still, like, a solid team. Like, the floor has been pretty high so far. So, but I agree. I do think – I was on your podcast, like back in October or November, and I said I think he probably should be fired. And I've kind of changed my stance on that. I think he has done enough. Like, barely, but he has done enough.
Yeah. The last of the we don't really care about this game is Raiders and Broncos. Like, I'm going to say it again. Do we care about this game? I don't.
I definitely do not.
All right, here's my opportunity to say John Gruden sucks. He sucks. Like, look, this team, when the season started, I was like, oh, man, they might be okay. You can't lose this much. Like, you can't, like, at some point, it has to end. If you're a good coach, it has to end. You have to get off the skid. You know what I mean? And he's done this, twice now? Yeah. Well, he's bad. He's a bad... in the modern NFL, he should not be a coach. Period.
Go
back to Monday Night Football.
If this were any other head coach right now in the Raiders and they were playing like this, the fans would be calling for his head.
Exactly.
It's year 3, and he has yet to have a winning record in any of his 3 seasons. Year 1, we give it a pass. Year 2, we even understand, but he still had that late season collapse, like Markeem's referencing. And then this year, they started the year 6-3, and they did it again. They went 1-6 in their last 7 games. I mean, that's just, or 1-5, but still, that's a lot. But he has a 10-year contract, so he's not going anywhere.
Which is crazy. Why would they get...
Because him and Mark Davis are so buddy-buddy that, like, John Gruden is literally the guy, though. I'll make 2 comparisons. One, John Gruden and Mark Davis have that relationship where it's like the 2 dumb kids in school who can get like a C on every assignment, but they'll just laugh it off every time, be like, oh, it's no big deal. Meanwhile, you got Mike Mayock, who's done an okay job bringing in talent and drafting. Mike Mayock is probably going to be looking over his shoulder because, look, they got rid of Reggie McKenzie like it was nothing. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if, look, after next year, if Mike Mayock's gone.
Which is fucked up, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Gruden will basically look to blame everyone but himself. I still do not get the firing of Paul Gunther on a short fucking week.
Well, and also, like, I mean, we were bitching about the Monday Night Booth problems earlier in the show. It's like...
He fixes it.
Yeah.
It's not good for Monday Night Football. It's not good for the Raiders. Like, it's been a lose-lose for everyone.
That's funny as hell.
But yeah, I guess, I don't know. I'll predict the Broncos to win just because John Gruden sucks, apparently. So yeah, I'll just...
Who also, the Broncos clearly don't want to win because they said last week that Vic Fangio is coming back in 21, which, if you know me by now, I think Vic is not the man for that job.
Maybe, but here's the thing. Like,
the Broncos are the Detroit Pistons of the NFL. Like, they have no direction.
That's
like, what
comparison?
I love that comparison.
What's the plan? Like, what is it? Because a lot of, like, the remnants of the championship are still kind of lingering around. You know what I mean? Yeah. But the team is not the same. Like, either blow this thing up or not. Like, it's like John Elway doesn't want to commit to the rebuild because he thinks somehow he can compete with this nonsense. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't get it.
Before we move on to the next game, because definitely we shouldn't spend too much more time on this one. I think, I could be wrong, but I just got a feeling of it. I think you'll see a new quarterback in Denver in 2021.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
The next game is the most intriguing one of the weekend. The Rams and the Cardinals with potentially John Walford playing Christopher Strevler, Grey Cup champion, Chris Strevler, shout out CFL. Like, that's the only reason why, because this is a win and you're in for both teams, but I just love the fact that it's this backup quarterback narrative.
Like Bortles got signed by the Rams, by the way.
And Cliff said today that he thinks there's a chance that Kyler might play, so we'll see.
Man, I want Chris Strevler to play.
Markeem, is Cliff Kingsbury like the Lane Kiffin of the NFL? Like, I don't want to be too mean, because like I know he was doing a good job earlier in the year, but like, man, this offense lately has been sputtering, and I just think they have too much talent to play as bad as they've played like the last 2 months.
They've kind of.
But I think he has shown he can be a head coach.
Sure.
I mean, like Lane Kiffin, there's no evidence that he can. I mean, he's shown he can. You gotta remember, like, this is like, he's young as fuck, and he wasn't even at Texas Tech that long. You know what I mean? This is all still him learning. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Lane Kiffin, I know he was young when all this first started, but now he's not young anymore.
I just want this offense to be better. Like, they have so much talent at receiver, at running back. Kyler, one of the better ones in the league. The O-line playing a little bit better than people thought. Like, even Dan Arnold, like, has made a lot of big plays for them at tight end. Even they were supposed to be the 4 wide. We never have a tight end. We'll never use our tight end offense. And Dan Arnold is scoring touchdowns every other week. I just feel like this team should be better. Like, I guess
I agree.
Big Rat, I have a thing to tell you. If you show a picture of people, just a random person who doesn't follow the NFL, a photo of Dan Arnold, I bet you wouldn't guess that his name is Dan Arnold. Name just does not sound like a football player to me.
Hold on, let me correct myself. I just realized that by looking this up, that Lane Kiffin is 45. It feels like he's like old as shit, but he's not. He's actually young, which is crazy to me. But go ahead.
One thing I'll say about Arizona as well is that, man, Vance Joseph has that defense playing some pretty okay football. Like he's kind of proven that, hey, he's not a good head coach, but he's a good defensive coordinator.
They have
that is true. That is definitely true.
I actually had Football Outsiders open anyways. They currently have the Cardinals defense rated as the 10th best defense in the league. So, yeah, like and their offense, by the way, ranks 19th. So, yeah, defense has made some plays for them.
Yeah. Is Phil still here, by the way? We haven't heard from him in a little bit.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, okay, cool. So, guys, who's winning this game?
If Kyle Murray plays, I got Arizona. If not, I've got the Rams.
I'm going to say the Rams, even if Kyler plays. And I know that's fucking crazy, but, like, the game's in L.A., and I just got this weird feeling that you take Jared Goff out of the offense, and, like, it would just be very Sean McVay. Like, if you remove Jared Goff and the offense doesn't skip a beat. Like, it's like, as good as it always is. Not that it's, like, an elite offense. Just, like, whatever they normally give you, you could take out Goff, and they'll produce just the same. I have no idea if Wolford is going to be any good or not. Just got a gut feeling that the offense is going to play as well as they normally do, even without Goff. Because that would kind of fit the narrative that McVay is kind of like the puppeteer, like putting everything together. And their defense is really good. The Cardinals' defense is good, but the Rams' defense is better. So,
man, I don't know. Flip a coin, man. This one's tough. I don't know. I'm actually going to do that. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hey Google, heads or tails?
Tails.
You got tails.
Okay, well then the Cardinals are going to win. There we go.
I got the Cardinals too, just because, like, look, after the last 2 weeks, I just can't buy into the Rams, and also too, I just don't like. Some part of me just doesn't like the Rams, so I'm going Cardinals because Cardinals were my dark horse playoff contender back in March.
yeah, mine were the Cowboys. That's not looking too good.
Still possible. Seattle, San Francisco in Glendale, because this is the last game that the San Francisco 49ers are being played in Glendale, because obviously, if you want to talk about the whole COVID restriction stuff from earlier, Santa Clara County is probably one of the most strictest places for COVID in the United States, where not only have the San Francisco 49ers been forced to move, But the San Jose Sharks of the NHL are opening their training camp in Scottsdale, Arizona, and don't have a permanent home for the NHL season. But that's another topic.
They're smart. They understand how serious this is. Good.
Yeah.
Good on them.
Also, too, I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was a report that the Niners losing the Super Bowl was a blessing in disguise because that's when San Francisco really was getting COVID bad, like at the beginning of February, and that if they had the parade, it would have been like a mass infection.
Yeah, because the virus, even though like we started closing shit down for the virus like around March 11th, and I say March 11th is the day that Rudy Gobert tested positive, and like we started closing other stuff before then anyways, but like around mid-March is when we started closing, but there's a lot of evidence that the virus was already in San Francisco like around February. So if the Niners had won the Super Bowl and had a Super Bowl parade, that would have been a problem.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus. Man.
I'm going to say this right now. The Niners, there's a lot of questions going into the offseason for this team because we don't know who's going to be at quarterback. Hopefully they can get everyone back healthy because, as we know, this team fully healthy is a very dangerous team. It's just 2018 and 2020, this team's been ravaged by injury. Like, look at this year. Raheem Mostert, George Kittle, Jimmy Garoppolo, Deebo Samuel, Solomon Thomas, Nick Bosa, Jarquiski Tart, Richard Sherman. Like, these are just a few of the names of guys who have been on the IR at least once this year.
Yeah, I said about Kittle, man. He's probably my favorite player in the league. He's a pro wrestling guy, so that's my guy.
Yeah.
He's not just a pro wrestling fan. He's like a knowledgeable pro wrestling.
Yeah. Like he did you see what was that? A couple years ago, he was tweeting about the G1 climax. I was like, look at this shit. Look at this shit. This guy.
He does the Cero Miedo.
Yeah. Him and Pentagon are like friends and shit. I love this, man.
He said, and like they asked him in the interview why he does it, and he mentioned Pentagon, and he didn't just say like I follow him in AEW. He's like, yeah, I saw him in WrestleMania weekend at like 6 different shows from 6 different promotions.
Yeah, that's the thing. I remember him saying he was on Part of My Take on Barstool Sports, and he was mentioning how he was in New York for WrestleMania week. Like it's not just like because a lot of celebrities I think fly into the city the day of the show, go to the show, and then just fly out. Like I remember I actually sat next to D'Angelo Williams and Gary Barnage at 33 in Orlando.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I actually have photos of them on my phone. Really nice guys. I'll explain how I got that off air, but or if you know, you know. But with Kittle, he was saying how he's going to like, all these different indie shows like throughout the stuff like that. Like he's a true pro wrestling fan. As we actually now, this is the first ever podcast to hit the 2-hour mark. So if you still stay tuned with us, thank you. But no, and even I remember on ESPN Countdown. He did a segment like with the Pentagon mask on, doing the Zero Miedo and all that stuff. Like, he's a true pro wrestling fan. Like, I even remember it was 2018. He was doing a press conference, and TLC was in San Jose, and he literally was like, "Sorry guys, I gotta go. WWE's in town," and then he rushed to the show from the game.
I remember that.
I love that, man. I love that dude.
Yeah, he's our boy. We need him to go off this weekend and beat the Seahawks, and for that, I'm picking the Niners. For no logical reason other than that. So there you go.
Yeah. Which Robert Saleh actually gave a very good, because he was being asked about the whole head coaching stuff, and he said, look, if I don't get a head coaching job, I'm still the defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers, which, so for him, it sounds like, hey, this could be his last game, or it may not, but one team I know that I think he could go to is the Detroit Lions, because he is a Michigan boy after all. Yeah, but I'm picking the Niners too, just because, fuck it, why not?
Okay.
And the wrestling stuff. Look, we all got hyped from the wrestling stuff.
Why not? I like that.
Hey, also, as we've said before, it is hard to sweep division opponents.
Yeah.
And we know this Niners team, they're not going to quit. Like, they're going to play hard, as we saw last week.
What is Seattle paying for? Anything?
They could get the 1 seed if they need to be in a 3-way tie. No, they need to be in a 2-way tie with the Packers. So the Packers have to lose to the Bears, and the Saints have to lose to the Panthers, and then the Seahawks and the Packers are in a 2-way tie for the 1 seed, and the Seahawks would get the 1 seed.
Oh, okay. Right.
It requires the Saints losing to the Panthers, which is asking a lot.
Yeah, to say the least. Before we get into the last game, I actually want to say that quickly. I think the Panthers are one team who's honestly kind of surprised me this year, because I expected them to win maybe 3 games at most, and they've looked a lot better than I thought they would have.
They've lost a lot of close games, too.
Yeah.
They've lost like 7 close games or something like that.
Agreed.
And I think a lot of people getting on Bridgewater, but it's like it's his first year not in a Sean Payton system that like was clearly just making sure he didn't like throw the game away. And I think Bridgewater will be better next year. I think, and then Chris McCaffrey obviously being out. So
y'all know that dude's not even 30. He's like 28.
Yeah, it's crazy. Even though it feels like he's been in the league forever.
Bridgewater?
Yeah.
I know.
And he was playing really well at the start of the year, and then he sprained his MCL. He missed a game. He came back from the MCL sprain, and after he came back is kind of when he started struggling a little more. Kind of reminds like last year, Jacoby Brissett for the Colts. Not that look, Teddy's a lot better than Jacoby. I'm not trying to make that comparison, but Jacoby Brissett and the Colts, they started the year 5-2. They started the year pretty competitive. Then he sprained his MCL, and he was never the same guy. So
I'll always give Jacoby props for that because he pretty much took over when he was assuming Andrew Luck was going to be the one playing.
Yeah.
He'll always get props for that.
Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee, Jacoby Brissett, actually.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Which I'll say is I think is an award I don't think NFL players take lightly. I think NFL players take a huge honor in being just not even winning, but just nominated for that award.
They do. They 100% do.
Yeah. Before we get into the last game, actually, because I know I've talked to Phil and Big Rat about this, but because it's Markeem's first time on here, Markeem, I want to ask you, who do you think is winning MVP, and who would you say has a good shot, or who do you think could win Coach of the Year?
Well, MVP I think is Aaron Rodgers. I think that's pretty obvious. I think just because of the record, him putting together this string of games he had, lack of turnovers, Aaron Rodgers is probably going to win. Coach of the Year. That was tough because you can go a lot of ways with this. And you can give it to Andy Reid because they, best record, all that stuff. You know what? Probably have to go McDermott.
That's who I would go with, Markeem.
It's also a good choice.
Because, hell, winning the AFC East for the first time and forever, you know what I mean? I was in fucking grade school, you know what I mean? I think you have to go. And Josh Allen, I know they don't have most improved player, but you got to go with him if they did, you know what I mean? Like, I owe that dude an apology.
I still want to see it for one more year. I'm not being stubborn. He's been great. I will also admit being wrong, but we've seen a lot of quarterbacks that we weren't sure about have these great years.
Carson Wentz.
Not be able to sustain it. What? Carson Wentz? Carson Wentz, Derek Carr, Jared Goff. It happens all the time.
And the other thing too, Big Rat, is like, let's see what he does in the playoffs because he looked god awful last year in the playoffs.
I still have and look, part of this is my homerism because as a Dolphins fan, not only do I dislike the Bills, but I'm also viewing them as a potential matchup in the playoffs too. You still get the sense that he has like one or two throws a game where you're like, oof.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like that potentiality of like, oh man, that was close to being a pick six, like that kind of thing. I still feel
but he's a gunslinger though.
Yeah,
that's his mentality.
Yeah.
Because of what happened with Carson Wentz, Derek Carr in 2016 got MVP votes. Jared Goff in 2018 made a Super Bowl. I would just let's see it for another year, and then I'll fully admit, okay, fine, this is legit. I just want to see it when everything's not perfect, because the O-line is playing really well right now, and the receivers are the best in the league. So I just want to see it one more time. That's all.
One thing I'll say to that, Big Rat, too, though, let's not forget, it is hard. It is really hard to stay consistent in this league. Look how many different teams, there's your top-heavy teams, right? But, everyone else, I'm looking at I did the little playoff machine while we were, talking and making picks, you've got teams in there that aren't in there every year, right? So, I will say that to the credit of that, but I agree with what you're saying on that, but I just think that because I think that this is going to sound like ultimate homer situation, but I think that no one appreciates how legit ridiculous and how, amazing the streak of the Patriots is until,
Oh, yeah. To me, that's Tom Brady's greatest accomplishment.
People
fuck the Super Bowls, all that stuff. Yeah. The fact that he pretty much from the moment he started all the way until he left New England, and even now, is still in the playoffs. That's insane. It's insane.
Yeah, and that's why, like, that's, he'll always be the GOAT to me. But no, like, I honestly think that that's something that people are going to look back and be like, wow, I witnessed that and I was a hater. Like, okay.
It's nuts, man. It's nuts. It's like Tim Duncan, LeBron James, even Derek Jeter when he was, like, starting to decline. Like, yeah, it's insane. It's insane. Like, no quarterback has ever done that.
Well, I just want to say,
never will. Like, I know that sounds insane. I don't think that will ever happen again.
well, it's gonna require, like, it's a quarterback. It's a great quarterback with a great coach, like, with a great organization. Like, you have to get all those parts to align, and it's really hard for all those parts to align. So, I will say, but just very quickly to wrap this up for the next game, to respond to Phil on I agree, it's hard to be consistent. It's hard to, like, maintain it year over year. All of that I totally understand. I'm just asking, next year, if Brian Dable is gone, which is possible, and he has to learn a new system and all that, Brian Dable gone, maybe some injuries on the offensive line, maybe the turnover luck starts to go in the other direction. Like, can he do all that and just have like a 29 touchdown, 9 interception kind of year? Just, like, be fucking normal. If he can do that, then fine. Then I can be fine.
And you know it'd be nuts if he's even better next year.
That would be nuts.
and let's be honest, he did get Diggs this year.
I know.
I mean, we can talk all we want about how great quarterbacks are. Look, like, they have to have help. They have to have somebody. God, I mean, I don't know how many times we have to say that, but
I mean, hell, look at the Tampa Bay Bucks right now with basically the same team Jameis Winston had. Now they're in the playoffs.
Tom Brady, who's not going to make idiotic, asinine decisions.
Yeah, who's not going to throw 30 interceptions. Like,
well, look, okay, like, all right, I know I've already been drooling all over Brady, like, in this podcast, right? I'm always going to, right? But I told people nothing this season about the Bucks has surprised me. Literally nothing, because there's a lot they have to work out through, right? But they also, like, it's Tom Brady. Like, what did you like? I love how the narratives are hilarious to me, because now Bill Belichick is an awful coach and Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
You guys buried him on New England and said he was a system quarterback. Okay, all right, buddy. No, go back.
He left that team because he knew that team wasn't very good, and then he went to a team that was already loaded. He was like, I'm pretty good. Let me go to this place.
And to Brady's, I mean, I think Brady's a little egotistical, a little bit about the situation, but I don't know, like, exactly how he felt. I think it was honestly a mutual decision. I think people are just making it out to be.
Oh, I don't agree with that at all. Well, I think they would.
Here's the thing, Markeem. I think what I'm saying about mutual decision, I don't think, like, Kraft would have kept him, but Brady knows what Belichick is going to do to, knew what he was going to do. It was clear he wasn't going to get him any kind of help.
Well, but, like, we've talked about this on the show before, like, with the N'Keal Harry thing. Like, fine, now you can write that off as a lost cause. You can't just cut a first-round pick. Like, he had to play. It's bad organizational practice to just, like, give up on a first-round pick after 6 months.
Well, and Brady is coming out. I mean, I guess you're talking about Brady, right?
Well, I mean, I just mean, like the whole. The problem with the get weapons thing is like, oh, let's get rid of N'Keal Harry and get someone else. You just can't do that. You can do that now.
And I don't know if this is true. This has been rumored, so I don't know if it's true. But apparently he had no interest in working with Jacoby Myers. And to me, that's a fault on Brady. Like, bro, I understand it's the end of your career, but literally if Myers is one of the best guys you have, like, Myers has played amazing this year. I mean, not amazing, but, you know, like, if that's true and Cam brought him under his wing and is able to play, like, I get people have different chemistry and stuff, but, like, if you were, like, I heard, like, legit what I read was that Brady, like, refused to, like, didn't want him on the team. So that's why he stayed on the practice squad. Like, I don't understand that, but whatever.
And that's true. That's fucked up.
It is, and exactly, and so that's why I'm not going to defend my boy in that situation. But what I'm saying is, in getting back to my original point, is that look what Tom Brady's able to do. Yeah, in his late career, he needs a team like Tampa. He needs to have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, who that's who I'm still like, F you, buddy. I don't, whatever. Gronk's the one that's like, oh, let's go back and chase rings after we were wanting to be WWE 24/7 champion.
He wanted a year off, man. I don't blame him.
I don't know.
He wanted a year off from football, man.
I love Gronk. I will always love Gronk. Gronk is the greatest tight end of all time. I'm just saying, like, I'm a little more bitter towards Gronk than I am Brady. But whatever. I'm just saying, like, anyways, I'm just saying, like, I think that nothing that I've seen has surprised me. He's had bad games. Well, he had bad games in New England, and we lost, and then we went on to win the Super Bowl. So it's like, I think people now are like, well, it's Brady, and they're giving him credit, and they're like, Belichick is doomed. I'm like, look, Belichick does have. I will say this, because it started off early one way in the season, and then it's ended this way. Obviously, Brady's going to make the playoffs, so he has that on him, right? He's going to winning record. He's going to have that on him or whatever. But, like, this is now the answer for Belichick because this is the team that you had. You fielded it, and you thought you could still field it. So now are you going to make changes? So I think that's a big thing. And like, I know I was going to talk about this earlier, and I know we still have one more game, but that's why I think that it's very important to see where we're going to go moving forward because a lot of people think that, including the guy we've been picking on the entire show, Danny, thinks that the Patriots are now doomed, but they literally are 7-9. Well, if they win the last game, would be 7-9, and they're not far out of anything. So
I think the only we gotta move on, bro. We've been on the ship, but I think the biggest indictment to Bill Belichick is the fact that he alienated Tom Brady. That don't look good, man. Like that, you know what I mean? Whoever is responsible for the success of that team, that can always be debated. But like, bro, you got
no. I don't think it can be debated. I think it's both.
Yeah, you gotta suck up to that dude. He's your meal ticket, man.
I think Bill Belichick, if he would never admit it, but I think looking back now, like I'd have gave Brady whatever he wanted. But
I will say though, Phil, like I've said this before in the show, we really do gotta move on. But like, can you just imagine though Brady being the quarterback of that Patriots team as constructed now with no Jacoby Myers?
He would be worse.
With no Julian Edelman either. No Jacoby Myers. I don't know if it would have been worse, man, but it would have been ugly, man.
He would have got hurt. I guarantee you.
Like it would have been it just wouldn't have. Look, would you have gone like 9-7 instead of 7-9? Maybe, but like it would have been ugly.
I say we maybe we squeezed in the playoffs, but we get thrashed. I mean, like that team's not like. That's what I'm saying. Like, I agree with you, but like people don't understand. Like Newton is the only thing that's good about that offense.
Like, I mean, he's only 10-5 with this Tampa Bay team that everyone thought they were going to have like this ungodly season and go like 13-3. Now, I know 10-5 is nothing to be like knocking at, but look at how he struggled with a Tampa team that's loaded with weapons and has a potential Super Bowl caliber defense. That's just my 2 cents.
Just ask what would the 2019 Patriots record be with this year's defense?
Oh, good lord, not 12-4 like they were last year. They would be like 9-7 or 8-8.
This defense is not the same without Hightower. I will die on that grave. But
all right, now we can get to the next game, so Markeem can rant on his Eagles.
I was about to say, we have the last game, Eagles football team, Sunday Night Football. I did see Bills fans bitching about that they thought too. Yeah, but apparently there's this weird rumor that Al Michaels hates Buffalo.
That's probably true, to be honest.
Yeah, like I'll let Markeem go on about the Eagles, and I'll let you guys go and talk. Just because the reason I was going to wrap up was my battery on my Mac is getting really close to dead, so I'll go get my charger, and I'll let you guys take it over, and then I'll finish this up.
All right, Markeem, rant on the Eagles for us.
I don't, honestly, you're going to shock you, I don't really have much to say. This team is bad. We've been hurt all year. Lane Johnson is hurt like usual. You know what I mean? The entire offensive line is hurt like usual. Let me not just single him out. The team is just bad. Like, it didn't matter if Carson Wentz was playing. Didn't matter if Jalen Hurts, yeah. He's terrible, too. It didn't matter if he was playing. Didn't matter if Michael Vick or Donovan McNabb or Brett Favre. Didn't matter who the fuck was playing.
Randall Cunningham.
Didn't fucking matter. The team was going to be bad.
Well, go ahead.
What you say?
No, continue. I'll ask after.
I'm kind of shocked we won 4 games. Like, to be real, Steve is not good. I knew it all year. I was like, we're not going to be any good. And we kept the wrong guy. Like, we should have kept Frank Wright. Got rid of the wrong guy because Doug Peterson is terrible.
We're at full. Doug Peterson is terrible.
Here's the thing. I've always had this stance because like the risk he would take, they seem more calculated because he had an offensive genius, like, you know what I'm saying, on that team with him. He doesn't have that anymore. Now he just makes a bunch of dumb decisions. You get what I'm saying?
Like, and to be to that credit, they worked. When they don't work, they get exposed.
Yeah, because they were calculated risks. Because you had Frank Reich in his ear, like, hey, if we do this here, you know what I mean, it's like a 70% chance of working, and if it doesn't, we can fall back on this thing. But now he just, let's just go for it on fourth down. Let's just go for the touchdown when we need a field goal to tie. Let's just, you know what I mean, it's stuff like that. You know what I mean, and I hate him because he doesn't understand how to cater to the strength of what you have. Like, he's done it with Jalen Hurts, where he gives Jalen Hurts a set of things to do. And he tells him, hey, you do this, 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 and this. He did it with Nick Foles, you know what I mean, where Nick Foles didn't have to take much risk at all. He barely threw the ball downfield. People forget about that. You know what I mean? And they were able to be successful that way. Carson Wentz, he tells him to go out there and win the game for me. Like, bro, this team isn't good enough for that. He and Carson Wentz.
Yeah. Someone said, someone on ESPN said, I don't know who it was, Ryan Clark, I believe it was, said that, Carson Wentz is being set up to fail, where Jalen Hurts is getting everything he needs to get.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, Jalen Hurts hadn't set the world on fire either. But the game plan is catered to what he does well. Like Carson Wentz, there is no fucking game plan. Just go out there and try and win us the game, and he is not good enough. You know what I mean? He's just not. Like, he's terrible. Doug Peterson is terrible, and he had that quote. I'm 100% confident I'll be back next year. Yeah, you will, unfortunately, but you shouldn't be. He's terrible. We kept the wrong guy.
Well,
do you think Carson Wentz's future is salvageable in Philly?
No, not in Philly.
So here's the thing, Markeem, on that. Let me. I'm jumping in on that because Carson Wentz is literally untradeable.
I'm aware.
Uncuttable. He can't be cut either.
I seen something where he can sign some sort of check or something, and they only take a $17 million hit, which is better than the $30 million hit they would take. You know what I mean? So, I'm sorry. What you about to say?
I was just gonna say, when Antonio Brown first had his problems with Pittsburgh, they were saying the same thing then. Like, you can't trade Antonio Brown. The Steelers would have to take on a $20 million cap hit, and eventually the situation gets so unsalvageable, the Steelers just take a $20 million cap hit. If they want to move the guy, they can move the guy. It would
he can't chill on the bench. He's worth too much money.
Right. Do you think the scenario is, all right, what's more likely, that they eat their contract or whatever, they keep Wentz, they trade Wentz, they find a way to trade Wentz, get rid of Wentz, whatever, or they try to trade Jalen Hurts?
That's a good question.
Because I've heard, I know another Eagles fan that says that's more likely, if Hurts was to play well. Now, granted, he's not playing well enough, I don't think, unless he won this game. I don't think it's enough to where...
Who's dumb enough to get hustled like that, though? Is there anyone that's lacking a quarterback?
It's the same thing that the Jets don't know that they need to lose to get Trevor Lawrence.
Well, yeah, but who needs a quarterback that's dumb enough to get hustled like that, though?
Like the Broncos?
Yeah, but I don't even think John Elway does that. Nah.
Bro, someone traded a second-round pick for Matt Castle. That's all you need to know.
I don't know, but yeah, Doug Peterson, terrible. To me, that's the biggest problem with the team. The roster, all the injuries, cool.
I will say this.
But we wouldn't be embarrassing if we had a different coach.
And I'll say this. I don't, honest to God, I've thought about this, and my fellow Patriot fan that I talked to at work looked at me like I was literally going insane. But I said, if the price was right...
Carson Wentz? Absolutely.
Bill would get that head back, would get Carson Wentz's head back in the game, and Carson Wentz would light it up.
If Carson Wentz... I'm going to go ahead and say this, and everybody's going to call me crazy. I don't care. If Carson Wentz was in New England, you guys would win that division and be a Super Bowl contender.
So why do you want
I really believe that.
Well, I guess it's not that you want to get rid of him. You just think it's unsalvageable.
Yeah. In Philly.
And they ruined it. They ruined it.
Yeah, they ruined it.
So, but what are you going to do? Just, start Jalen Hurts next year?
No.
They've already...
No.
That's...
Next year, even if you do, next year, this is the rebuild year. Blow all this shit up. You know what I mean? We're going to be bad for a few years, and there you go. We're bad now. You know what I mean?
I've heard some Philly fans criticize Howie Roseman, too, and I think your stance is not that he's not a problem, just he's not the biggest problem. That, he had like this attachment to the Super Bowl team. The whole organization did, by the looks of it. And like, well, you have so many guys on the roster that got big contracts from that team that are still around and that are older, and that these injuries happen, and they happen with higher frequency with the Eagles than they do with other teams.
But here's the thing. Looking back now, I mean, it's easy for me to say this now. I'm not saying that I necessarily would have said that then, but I did see signs of it. That team was not built to win consistently year after
Not at all. I said it after they won.
And then fall apart, which is exactly what they did.
Yeah.
I said it after they won. I looked at my sister and I was like, I'm going to enjoy this because this may never happen again for the rest of my life.
Which is why, as a Patriots fan, I was okay with the loss in the end because I knew we'd be back, and we were. So,
are you like a Jalen Reagor fan? I know he's been a little disappointing, but like any positivity there
right now?
I didn't hear you at all. I'm sorry, Big Red.
Do you like Reagor? I know it's disappointing for Philly fans because of how well Justin Jefferson's been playing, but like I liked Reagor coming out of the draft. I don't know.
I mean, I did too. I did too.
I think it's too early to tell. I mean, they've got quarterback roulette over there with Wentz and Hurts, and I just think it's too early to tell.
Well, so what do you think happens this Sunday then, Markeem? They're just gonna lose? Like it's just
there's no way they win this game. Literally,
they're gonna lose because they're not good enough.
And I will say this about on the opposite side of it, Washington, like the story is amazing. I want them to win so bad because I think Ron Rivera is a no shit, no attitude, like not giving any shits. Like what he did with Haskins is exactly what should have happened. The dude was a bum, and so it said, "Oh, we drafted." No, you're a bum. I realize you're a bum. Bye. See ya. Go play.
And it's not only that he was a bum; it's that he was irresponsible.
Yeah.
And exactly. And when you have a coach that had cancer, like, bro, no, bye, peace, see you later. And I was on record actually. I don't know about on the podcast form or anything, but I told all my friends that were Washington fans, I said, I have Washington sneaking into the playoffs this year, whether wild card or winning the division. And they're like, man, I hope you're right. And I'm like, I mean, they win, they're in. So, and I know no one, I mean, obviously 7-9.
They get blown out the first round, but yeah.
Markeem, honestly, I don't know that. Now, granted, that's what the projected, like I have it right here, 5th seed Tampa Bay versus Washington. I don't think they can beat Tampa Bay, but that defense, Alex Smith, the story, like you kind of can't write that stuff. So
well, I will say I'm with Markeem. I don't know if they can beat the Bucks, but I think that what helps them now is that Alex Smith is probably coming back. 2, Antonio Gibson, who got hurt in that Steelers game and who's been awesome this year. Awesome. He's coming back too.
Clarence well.
He came back last week. So
Clarence
Scary Terry as well. So I think like the football team that we saw on Thanksgiving that like lit up the Cowboys 42-10, which in hindsight might be the difference in winning the division or not. Because if the Cowboys had won that game, the Cowboys could just beat the Giants and win the division, and we'd get Giants-Cowboys in the Sunday Night Football slot.
Oh, dear good Lord, no!
Yes, I think Washington should win. I know it's hard to sweep division teams, but I'm kind of with Markeem. I think this Eagles team, they're bad, and I fell into the trap because they have made the playoffs 3 years in a row. Like for all their flaws, they seem to make the playoffs every year, but this year, early on in the season, I was definitely one of those people that were like, yeah, they're bad, but they have, like, Carson Wentz. They can get it together. They can win this division over all these other bad teams. And instead, they're the only one eliminated going into Week 17. So, yeah, tough times for them. So I got Washington. I'll send it back to Griff.
You know what? I have the football team as well, and I'm just seeing how long we've been recording for, boys. I'm actually going, for anyone listening to this right now, I'm splitting these into 2 different episodes. I'm going to do the college football as one episode, and I'm going to do the NFL as another, because I don't really want to subject people to listening to 2.5 hours. No offense to any of you guys. I'm just saying it just to make...
Oh, you get us together. That's what happens.
Oh, I can tell. I'm just letting y'all know. I'm just letting y'all know. So I'll do the college football YouTube take episode, and I'm going to do if the NFL stuff, which is called If It's, Ands, and Butts Were Candy and Nuts.
I love it.
Yeah.
You can't write it. You can't write that stuff.
Yeah. I know. I'm not knocking anybody in the room. I'm just letting you guys know that I'm gonna clip when this is said and done. I'm gonna clip the episode so I can get one audio of everything from from the college football portion and then the NFL portion, just so the people aren't listening to 2.5 hours straight.
That makes sense. That's called logic.
Yeah.
You're good.
I want my views, man. And so if you are still listening, the NFL is called episode 52. I'm gonna do a little pre-recorded thing at the beginning too, where I basically just say, "Hey guys, we broke the episodes up because."
Right.
But no,
because I don't shut the fuck up.
That's more. Hey,
Trying to mute me.
hey, no. If there's an order of who doesn't shut up the most, it's Phil and then Markeem.
I will keep going until you make me shut up.
Yeah. What was I gonna say though? For this game, I think Washington wins and gets in the playoffs. Like the big question, obviously, though, I will say for this franchise going forward is who is their quarterback in 2021? Like them.
Man, that is the $1 million question.
What if it's not? What if it's Cam Newton?
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. Huh? That honestly, that's something that wouldn't shock me. But
So we're talking about. Well, hold on. We're talking about Cam. I got to mention this. So I agree. I always thought that was the landing spot, and apparently, I guess because of Haskins and stuff, they didn't really have that option, right? So now that option opens up, right? So I agree with that. So that's crazy that you thought that. The other thing though is I don't know. Like I said, no one knows. But what is New England going to do? Because to me, Cam's team, I don't know, obviously when you follow the team, you follow the players, you follow everything that they do. Cam has done everything he can to I don't know if y'all saw the tweet about his ritual where he wakes up and he doesn't have coffee till 8 a.m. It's like a meme now. But he has given it everything. And to me, Bill loves players like that. So if he takes a pay cut, now granted, if someone offers him money and he decides to go for the money, but it just doesn't seem like that's what Cam wants right now.
Bill is cutthroat, man. Bill is cutthroat, though.
And also, Cam...
Yeah, he is. I know, he is. But what I'm saying is, what does Cam want and what does Bill want? If Bill's sorry, you didn't get it done and doesn't sign him, okay, I get that. But if Bill wants him, to me, Cam's done enough to earn a spot. Not a starter spot, maybe not necessarily. Maybe a rookie comes in and beats him out. I don't know. But I do think he's earned it if Bill wants that. The question is, I don't know if Bill wants it.
Man, what are the odds the Patriots try and package some shit and move to that number 1 pick? Wouldn't that be nuts?
It'd be nuts. It would be nuts, but guess what? It would never happen with New York at the number 1 pick. It could happen with...
It wouldn't happen with Miami either, for those same reasons.
Oh, right. But it would... What I'm saying is, it's not going to happen with a division rival, but now there's not a division rival there, and, can you what would you have to offer if you're the Jets? It's just... I don't know.
Whatever pick you got...
Stephon
Gilmore, absolutely.
Multiple firsts,
Yeah, for some years, absolutely.
And I'd take it in a heartbeat. For that talent, I'd do it. Where else?
I know. On the Cam question though, it's not just Belichick. Does Cam want to come back? Because I'll be honest,
he does. I think he 100% does.
I also, but when I watch, I've been defending Cam more than most because I do going back to the Brady argument. Cam's giving you 12 rushing touchdowns. You do not get that from these other quarterbacks that could be the quarterback that comes in there. That is the only reason how you can score in the red zone some of these games. But I don't, on Monday Night Football, he just looks miserable, man. He just looks so unhappy. Just having to
see. I agree with what you're saying, but I think he's more so just from following him and things he said. I think he's disappointed because he feels like he's giving it everything and it's not enough.
That's possible. I can see that. And
I also think that dude is physically shot.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Definitely. He was forced back probably faster than he should have been because of COVID and just because of how.
I hate to say it, but I think the days of Super Cam are kind of behind us, man.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't know. We still had there's still moments of that, but as far as passing, he may just not have it in his arm strength anymore, which is sad.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because the dude's young as hell.
And he it's not limiting him trying. He just may not have it in his arm. He may have it in his legs, and so what is he gonna do? Become a receiver or running back?
Yeah, he could. Even though he's young, he took a lot of punishment, man. His style of play, got him beat up.
I do think, honestly, Big Red, I'm glad that you mentioned that because of things, of course, that I wanted to say as a fan. But, I would love if it can't happen in New England. I think Washington's the perfect fit
if they want him.
if they want him.
Yeah.
Right? Well, obviously, and I think, like I said, we don't know if they didn't want him because Haskins was still like obviously the guy that they have to see what they had in him, and they still had Alex Smith, or like now do they still like okay we're gonna go with Alex Smith and we're gonna draft a guy. I mean it's interesting to see what what they decide to do.
No, for sure. I can't believe I'm saying this, but the NFL regular season's over in 5 days. Like, it seems like yesterday it was just beginning. Like, this is the thing. This is why I started this show, is because I'm also, too, because next week is, actually not the next week, Saturday will be 1 year since I recorded the first YWC football talk. But the seasons always come and go, but like how we had this almost 3-hour conversation tonight, I can talk the sport, no matter how fast the seasons come and go, I can talk the sport year-round. So for that, boys, I thank all three of you for being on today.
Yeah, thank you for putting it together, man, because, like, when you told me the Markeem was coming, I literally almost dropped my phone. And I talk to Markeem on Snapchat all the time, so, but yeah, I was loving it.
Thanks for not only having us on, but having us on together. It was honestly a lot of fun for all of us. And I've been on your show before, but this is just it's fun. It's fun getting us three back.
So much fun.
Yeah, because before I let Markeem speak, Phil and Big Rat have been the two that have been on the show the most. Because I remember Phil was one of the OG guests because he was always on too. Like Phil and I also too had the very serious episode right as everything was shutting down with COVID, where we talked not just about the NFL but COVID as a whole. And then I remember I just did a flyer to Big Rat because you and I would always get into Twitter arguments. And then here you and I are. We've talked a bunch. And now with the offseason going, boys, I would love to do this again. Maybe we get Danny in the mix because even the 5-person episode we did a couple weeks ago with the Christmas show, this was just as fun.
Oh, yeah. And I think, too, to piggyback on that, Griff, props to you for, obviously reaching out to people that you don't have a big connection with, so props for that, and getting them to come on, so that's great. So obviously you're getting. I know that it's easy for guys like you and guys like me to get hate and get oh they're not worth anything, they don't have anything to give, but you do have stuff to give because they wouldn't be here if that was the case. So just props to you for you on that, Griff. And then also, I mean, 2020 has been horrible. We talked about before the podcast. There's been a lot of bad stuff. Markeem has gone through some stuff. I've gone through some stuff, especially this week. And it's just good to come on here and I'm sure Big Red has as well, and you, Griff.
Shit, when we thought it was all over, Brody Lee dies. What the hell, man?
Yeah.
And exactly. And it's who knows what's going to happen in 2 days on the last day of the year? I don't even want to know. So it's just it's good to have good things. It's and I went to school for this. For those that don't know, I went to school to do this. So to be able to have an avenue to do this is a bright spot in 2020.
It's a fun time.
Yeah, that's the only other thing I gotta say is that it's always fun to come and talk in here. Are we getting paid to do this? No. Do we do this for any reason? No, we just do this because look, all four of us, I always knew Markeem was a football fan. I didn't realize the amount of knowledge that I learned from him tonight, and I gotta thank you for that. But just the simple fact that it's friends having a conversation, and look, yeah, sometimes you poke fun at someone, but Danny, but at the end of the day, you know what?
Y'all have buried Danny all night.
Oh, kid, you don't even know I buried him before you even got on.
You should see my Twitter exchanges with him. They get ruthless.
With me, I usually just troll him at this point on Twitter because I know we're gonna talk about stuff later, so I can actually.
Oh, same here. I do the same thing.
I get straight up mean with Danny on Twitter sometimes, but he deserves it.
Man, I will never forget the two biggest moments of 2020 that were hot takes that came true was Phil's Baltimore Ravens thing last year where he said the Ravens would lose because they rested players, and Big Rat saying to Danny, Cleveland is going to lose to the Jets, and Danny just not buying it at all. And look what happened. As soon as I saw the ha 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 tweet, I'm like, fuck, can I not like this more than once?
Day of Twitter of 2020.
Why would he think the Browns are locked though? Why would he think that?
Because he like most football fans saw that game against the Ravens, a game they lost where their defense looked horrible. but like he fell in love with all that offensive firepower they had in that game, and he was like, "Oh man, this team is legit."
And on top of that, I will add this little tidbit. I don't think the Jets were necessarily 100% on the whole Trevor Lawrence thing after all.
Well, I mean, the front office might be, just the players and the coaches are not. They want to win.
Right, exactly. So that might be, the front office might want that. Right.
Yeah, like I told someone that a couple days ago where I was just like, you think that NFL teams and like, do you think Adam Gase is going in there every week saying, guys, we're going 0-16? Absolutely not. You're going in there every week to win. And also, too, Markeem said this to me off air, I believe. This Jets team is not bad to go 0-16. They just lost a lot of close games. Like, they could have beaten the Broncos. They should have beaten they didn't beat the Rams. They should have beaten the Raiders and the Patriots. Like, this could be a 4 or 5 win football team right now.
Well, and the whole problem with we're gonna go 0-16, like Gase is gonna get fired. Like, what does he give a shit if they win enough games for Trevor Lawrence? Like that's not his concern. Like he doesn't. That doesn't benefit him.
Yeah.
He's trying to set up his next job.
Exactly.
If you can build around Sam Darnold, he's trying to prove that he can win with what he's got, you know.
Yeah.
They beat 2 playoff teams, the Jets, the last 2 weeks. Like they're. I think they're gonna salvage. They're gonna be remembered. They're gonna end up being remembered as just another bad team. I think they salvaged themselves from this historically bad thing that I agree with Markeem. They never really were, but I think they've officially done enough that that's out of the question now.
They were not nearly as bad as that Browns team from 3 years ago.
No.
Close.
No, not even.
It's like Deshaun Kaiser, all-time bad NFL quarterback.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a shame. Didn't we like that dude in Notre Dame?
He was good. He just was bad in the league.
Well, he also went to Cleveland, where you're born to fail. So,
but this was fun. Seriously, thanks for having us all on. It was a good time.
No problem. I was glad you're able to join Big Rat. Sorry about your Miami Hurricanes once again. But anyway, guys.
One step closer to Manny getting fired. It's okay. It's not going to happen this year, but one step closer.
Paying for the
last thing that I'll say on this podcast for myself is Sean's up, baby. Look out for us.
Markeem, any closing words, buddy?
Nah, this was cool, man. It's almost 12 o'clock.
Just like good old days.
Off tomorrow.
Yeah, just like I don't even know your guys' good old days, but you know what? I made this happen. We got to make this happen again, maybe in January, February, whenever. I got to go through the guest book and see, but I got a lot of stuff planned up my sleeves for those of you listening. So, just to cap it all off, guys, thank you very much to anyone who listened to the first now 52 episodes. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to keep doing this. I've got plans. I've got stuff up my sleeves for 2021. We got through this year. 2021 may not start well, but hopefully it ends well. And also, too, guys, enjoy the rest of the regular season. Hopefully you won your fantasy championships or did somewhat well in them in your leagues. I don't know how these 3 guys feathered. I know I believe Phil won 7th place and I won 6th place in the YWC Orgy League.
I won the other YWC league with Miguel, and I think Ross is in there, and Danny's also in that one. Suplex City is back on the throne. I have won my 2nd title in that league, so.
I hadn't been serious about fantasy football since high school, so.
Not true, I understand, but you know what, guys?
It's too random, man. I get pissed off easy.
Oh,
it's too random.
The biggest love-hate relationship I have in the world besides WWE is fantasy football.
Yeah.
It's you have to keep your ego in check. Very, very, you have to
Exactly. Like, you gotta go and not think, every time you go and thinking, hey, everything's gonna be perfect, everything's gonna be fine, you know what, shit goes sideways. And, what's it called, man? I actually won my first ever league championship this week, and it's because of Josh Allen, so I'm a little pissed at that, just because, obviously, look, shit happens, and I won because he kicked my team's ass, but Jesus Christ, my watch will not shut up. Yeah, that's about it. But anyway, I am done, guys. 2020's been a blast for me on the podcast, even though, you know what, if you use this to get away from reality, I appreciate it. If you listen just for the love of the game. I appreciate that too. But anyway, guys, it has been an absolute blast talking to you. Thanks for now the first 52 episodes. Hopefully by this time next year, you know what, shit's normal, but we're still doing this and we're still kicking it. Well, anyway, guys, have a happy and safe New Year. Enjoy the college football playoffs on Friday, and enjoy Week 17 of the NFL season. See you guys on the other side in 2021. Goodbye and good night.